HighBridge, a division of Recorded Books, presents The Silence by Mary Mcgarry Morris. Read by Cassandra Campbell. They were 8. Third day of the heat wave. Ruth didn't know that. Not then. The backs of her legs sting when she sits down. Shit. Bare skin on burning hot bricks. But Ruth can take it. Miss Verletti won't let her in. Ceely said to wait on the front steps. Patience comes hard for Ruth. She's trying not to get mad. Sitting here with nothing to do is so stupid. But she has to if she wants to play with Ceely. 1,000 ants carry a spotted beetle by her dirty sneakers. Bug funeral. With piano music. Such a pretty song. For Elise, they'll tell her later. Later, when everything matters. Ruth wiggles her fingers in the air, pretends she's playing. Plinkety-plink, plinkety-plinkety-plink, through the sheer curtains. Head back, squinting, she sees tiny glass spangles in the blinding sun. Suddenly, a jangly chord. Miss Verletti screeches. "Next time, don't bring anyone. That girl again, that's why you're rushing." "Bitch," Ruth whispers. Her friend starts over. Ceely Pardoe's not used to getting in trouble. The music slows way, way down. Ceely wants to quit, but her mother feels bad for Miss Verletti. She plays organ in the church, and she's only got a few students left. Well, duh. She snaps kids' hands with a chopstick if they hit a wrong note or haven't practiced. Ruth is hoping Mrs. Pardoe will take her to the mall with Ceely and Ceely's big sister, Maddie. The trick, she told Ceely, was to ask right in front of her. That way her mother can't say no. The speckled corpse disappears into the dry grass blades. Miss Verletti's fat yellow cat rubs against Ruth's leg. Red collar bell tinkles. Killer. He swiped a bird down last time, mid-air, and ripped it open. He wants her to pet him. But she remembers all those bloody feathers and guts. Golden eyes stare hard, his purring a creepy lie. The porch door bangs shut, and he springs under the bushes. "Yay, she's not here," Ceely says, jumping off the step. Maddie's supposed to walk her home. "Let's go, quick!" She grabs Ruth's hand. She wants to see the burnt-out cabin. But it's not on their way, Ruth tells her. What Ruth really wants is to go to the mall. "That's okay," Ceely says. Her mother's probably still at the beauty parlor. Mrs. Pardoe has pretty hair, wavy and honey-colored. As they start to run, Ruth says her mother is blonde, too. "Yeah," Ceely says, "only her mother's is natural." "So's her mother's," Ruth says right back. "Then why's it so orangey?" Ceely says. "Fuck you, Ceely." Can't say it, though. She'll tell on Ruth. They cut through the Bistany yard so they won't go by Ceely's house. The burnt-out cabin's in the woods, just off the river road. Teenagers smoke and do stuff there. Used to, anyway. Arson, Sully said. "That's a fire you set on purpose," Ruth has to explain. For such a smart kid, it's funny the things Ceely doesn't know. Like once, how a boy can be in love with a boy and a girl can be in love with a girl and how they can do things together, but there'll never be a baby from it. Do what things? Ceely wanted to know. And Ruth wasn't really sure, but she had a pretty good idea. With what they have, she said. Mouths and hands. And with boys, their penis thing. Which got her in trouble. Mrs. Pardoe was pissed. But when she called, Ruth's mother said she didn't believe in hiding the facts of life from children. Well, Mrs. Pardoe said, there were certain subjects children needn't be exposed to. Perversions, for one thing. The high noon sun is prickly hot, glaring like shattered glass in the sky. A black car passes. Crown Victoria. Ruth will know later. Don't look, Ceely says, so Ruth doesn't. Ceely might change her mind. The car's coming back. Slows down. Ceely says it again. Don't look. Ceely, the driver calls. Does she want a ride? No, thank you. She grabs Ruth's hand. Run, she yells when the car leaves. They're still on the sidewalk, running. They turn onto the unpaved river road, gravelly dirt. They kick rocks and disappear into the dust clouds. Farther ahead, the bigger trees swallow them in cooler shade. Almost at the path to the cabin now. A car's coming. Ceely darts into the brush, and Ruth runs after her. Hide, Ceely says. So they crouch down behind wild, vine-tangled bushes, thick from years of being slashed back from the road. From what? Ruth asks. The priest, Ceely whispers. You're scared of a priest? I'm not scared. Then how come we're hiding? Waiting, that's all. She's peeking through the leaves. For what? Shh, Ceely hisses. Same car. Creeps by. Slow tires. Mealy, sticky sounds churn through the roadside dirt. They stop. He's getting out. Her weak squeal. She leans hard into Ruth. The man in black flips his silver sunglasses up on his head, and they catch the light. Shades his eyes, peers over the car's roof. The priest. Not sure which one, though. Ruth doesn't go to church much. Why? Her heart's beating crazy fast. He'll see me, Ceely whispers. Come on, then, Ruth whispers. She turns, but Ceely grabs the back of her shirt. Ceely's afraid. She's just remembered she's not supposed to go into the woods alone. But you're with me, and I know every place in here, all the trails, Ruth assures her, so she follows. This is way better than going to the mall. The marked ones, even the old Indian trails, Ruth brags as they run side by side. She and her brother, George, hike here all the time with her mother and Sully, she tells Ceely. That's your mother's boyfriend? Ceely pants. Boyfriend, the shivery way she says it, like there's something wrong with it, something wrong with Ruth. Like her name. Ruth, Ceely said the other day, scrunching up her face. How come they named you that? She's barely keeping up. Come on, Ruth, wait. She darts ahead and doesn't answer. She feels like hitting Ceely, hard, knocking her down and kicking her. Last time she hit another girl was pre-K. She hurt George yesterday and got in big trouble. A hairbrush, that's all she threw. His fault, really, for teasing her. The cut kept bleeding and she was bawling right along with him. Because she loves George, and everyone was yelling, You could have put his eye out. And she's throwing up. His eye out. The thought of it's still so awful. Ruth feels that same way, all shaky scared again. It's Ceely. Why's she always have to spoil things? Bitchy sounding like her mother, judging her. Like when she invites Ceely over after school and Mrs. Pardoe asks if her mother's there. Her mother gets home from the hospital at 6. Miss Bale from upstairs minds her and George until then. Ruth can play at Ceely's any time she wants, but Ceely can only come to her house, Mrs. Pardoe says, when Ruth's mother's there, which is on Saturdays. On Sundays, the Pardoes go to noon mass and then always have a big dinner, usually roast beef, Ceely complains. One Sunday, when Ruth invited Ceely to go to the movies with them, Ceely called back to say she could only go to movies on Saturdays. Sundays are family days. You ever see them kiss? Ceely asks, catching up. Small branches and twigs crack underfoot as they veer off the blue diamond-blazed trail. Sully's shortcut to the river. They'll find the cabin quicker by following the river. No, Ruth says, though she has, of course. Lately, Sully practically lives with them. In the morning, though, he comes out of the bedroom as fully dressed as the night before. Complaining, Ceely struggles up this steep rise. The climb's hard, but Ruth won't admit it. Sully's gotten calls about a rabid coyote down there by the river. He's looked, but so far it hasn't found it. She won't mention the coyote. That's all Ceely'd have to hear. Ruth's not supposed to come here alone either, but playing with Ceely is like a privilege. Makes her feel special. Below, the river is yellow, streaked with light. She runs full speed, skidding down the brambly hill to the sandy clearing. The rush of water is everywhere, here and far away, a fizzy hum in the air. Last fall, Ruth and Sully sat up on the rise and watched a small herd of deer drinking from the river. One of the sweetest things she's ever seen. 3 does and 2 fawns caught in the slant of speckled light filtering through the trees. They drank for a long time. All of a sudden, they froze, then galloped back into the woods. It bothers Sully that they're so used to people. Humans are the worst predators of all, he'd said in his annoying way of distrusting everything and everyone. Still up on the rise, Ceely keeps glancing back over her shoulder. "Come on," Ruth calls, and Ceely shakes her head. She can't. She'll get in big trouble. She can only go near water if she's with an adult. "God," Ruth groans. How does Ceely keep track? She's got so many rules. "We're not going in or anything," Ruth yells, and drops cross-legged onto the stubbly grass. Ceely takes a few steps down. Scares Ruth, knowing Mrs. Pardoe would never allow this. But Ceely's trust makes her feel important. Ceely inches down crabways. She looks around uneasily, then drops beside Ruth. "What's that?" She grabs Ruth's arm with the screechy, high-pitched chatter. "Probably squirrels. See? Way up there." Ruth points to the tall, scraggy pine at the edge of the clearing. "That's their nest." "Just a bunch of leaves," Ceely says, squinting up. "That's what squirrels use," Ruth explains. "Leaves." "How do you know?" Ceely asks. She keeps looking around. "Sully told me." Ruth likes knowing things the smartest girl in 2nd grade doesn't. For a few seconds, Ceely's quiet. Birds are chirping and the full sun pours down on them. Closing her eyes, Ruth lifts her sweaty face into the glare. Yellow. That's how she remembers that day. She doesn't remember mosquitoes, but later she's covered with bites. How's he know? Sully's been teaching Ruth and George to identify bird calls. Her brother's really good at it. She pretends she's not that interested. Mostly out of loyalty to her father, even though he's married to someone else and lives in Texas with a new baby and only calls every couple weeks. Or months. Birthdays, sometimes. Stuff like that. Ruth pulls off her smelly sneakers and stands up. She's thinking of his new daughter replacing her. Probably has soft, pale curls and pure blue eyes like Ceely, who even now, when Ruth's only here because of her, doesn't believe anything she says. Ruth is mad. She's getting that hard feeling again. Just wants to punch something, or kick something. Instead, she wades into the cool water and curls her toes hard into the coarse sandy gravel until they sting. Ceely gets up but stays on the embankment. "He's a policeman, isn't he?" Ceely calls. "Yeah," Ruth calls back. Kind of, that is. Sully's the animal control officer, though she's not about to admit this. He passed the test to be a regular police officer, but there aren't any openings. Her ankles are needle-prickly numb. "You have a gun?" Ceely calls, and Ruth says he does. "He ever arrest anybody?" "Well, yeah." Raccoons and groundhogs, she thinks to temper her lie. She doesn't ask Sully many questions. She figures if she doesn't pay much attention, maybe he'll just go away. Besides, it's mostly animals he ever talks about anyway. Last week, he had to shoot a rabid fox in the high school parking lot. She'd like to tell Ceely this, but doesn't want to trip herself up. She's pretty good at keeping track of lies, but Ceely never forgets anything and always gets straight A's. She's also beautiful and really nice. Probably every girl's best friend. With the sun right over them, the rushing current sparkles. Water laps the banks with hard swishes. Usually shallow here, but higher now with all this month's rain. And running fast. This, too, she'll know later. Ceely's long blonde hair glows with light. Ruth smiles as Ceely takes off her spotless pink sneakers, then wades in, too, squinty-eyed and gasping. They're only ankle deep. The water's freezing, Ceely complains. Warm water's what she's used to, she says. The Pardoes have a heated swimming pool. Ruth swam there once, but never got invited back after she pushed Ceely in. It wasn't even the deep end, but Mr. Pardoe said she'd broken the most important safety rule of all. For some reason, or maybe for no reason at all now, which is usually what gets her in trouble, she splashes Ceely with both hands. "Ruth!" she gasps and shrieks at her to stop. Then she starts splashing back. Giggling, they kick and scoop water at each other. Ceely's laughter is warm and fluttery like birds' wings. In up to their knees now. The current's stronger here. They keep slipping. They hang on to each other. Best friends. Their clothes are drenched and their hair drips onto their slick shoulders. Arms out for wobbly balance, they wade to the river bank. Ruth hangs her head and shows Ceely how to shake off water like a dog. Ruth's dizzy with happiness and all their crazy laughing. Her foot's cut from the sharp stones. She doesn't care. Suddenly, Ceely spins around toward the woods. She hunches over, hugging herself. Did Ruth just hear that? Someone calling Ceely's name? Ruth assures her they're the only ones here. It's Father Phil. I heard him. Ceely looks around in a panic. And now I'm all wet. So? Why are you so scared? Ruth asks. Because now she's getting scared. Mrs. Pardoe's going to blame her for everything. I just don't like him, that's all, Ceely says angrily. How come? She's surprised. The Pardoes love church. Ceely takes a deep, shuddery breath. Promise you won't tell? Her somber nod. A secret from Ceely feels really special. An honor. She places her hand over her pounding heart. Promise. For real. He comes in our pool and he picks me up and carries me around and I hate it. So tell him not. He puts his hand up my bathing suit, Ceely blurts. He does? Ruth is confused. She nods. In a private place. Her wide blue eyes darken with dread. It's hot, but she's shivering. Her teeth chatter. And he presses my leg against him. And then last time he put my hand down there. She gestures. Down his bathing suit. The front. Ceely stares in frozen terror of what's just been confided. That's gross. Ruth makes a face. That's really gross. Especially coming from Ceely. It seems she should say more, ask questions. Not sure which ones, though. Her clothes feel slimy. There's sand in her underpants. Flecks glitter on her arms. She's made Ceely feel worse, and now she feels bad. So next time, just say, "Don't do that or I'll tell my mother." Ceely's terror makes Ruth wonder who her friend's more scared of, her mother or the priest. They better leave, Ceely says. But the burnt-out cabin, Ruth reminds her. She can't, Ceely insists. She's going to get in big trouble. Her mother doesn't even know she's with Ruth. "I'm not supposed to play with you when I'm not supervised, and now my clothes are all wet. My shirt, it's brand new. My mother just bought it," she whines, trying to wring out the front. "It's not my fault." The cuts on Ruth's feet sting as she steps into her gritty, unlaced sneakers. She's really mad and really scared. She's going to be blamed for everything. She hates the way the Pardoes make her feel, as if she's not good enough for beautiful Ceely, as if she's got some disease that might infect her. And now Ruth's frizzy curls feel tighter, her skin darker. Ceely wiggles. She's got to go to the bathroom. "I'm going to be in so much trouble," she whines again, running in a crouch. She still has accidents sometimes. When she wets the bed, she has to wash her own sheets. Last day of school, it happened on the way home. Her white socks were stained yellow and her shoes squished with every step. Ruth never said a word. That's why Ceely likes her, Ruth thinks, because she's the kind of kid that puts up with stuff. Probably why she thinks she's better than Ruth. Ruth doesn't know. Maybe there is something wrong with her. Must be some reason she always rubs people the wrong way. Ceely makes it as far as a big rock. Hairy vines thick as ropes run from the ground straight up from the rock. She pulls her shorts down around her ankles. Before Ruth can say it's poison ivy, Ceely squats in the shiny leaves. "Don't look," Ceely screams. "Fine, I won't," Ruth thinks. "You're the one that said we should come," Ruth calls back. Hearing her pee hiss against the leaves makes Ruth even madder. Not just at Ceely, but at lots of things, like George being pure white like her mother. She's like this from a grandmother she never even met. Her father's side. Was she or wasn't she? Real big mystery. Yeah, right. One look, Ruth thinks, and you know somebody was. Not that there's anything wrong with it, her mother says with that look, which of course means there is. "You're the one that got me all wet," Ceely grunts back, and all of a sudden Ruth hates her. "I told you I couldn't." "You're the one that wanted to," Ruth snaps at her. "You're such a liar, Ruth. That's why you get in so much trouble," she says, wiggling into her underpants. "Shut up," Ruth shoves her, knocking Ceely down on one knee in the poison ivy. "You're so mean." She gets up, looking sad and afraid. Probably nobody's ever hurt her before, Ruth thinks. Part of her is glad, part of her is ashamed. It's that boiling part of herself she hates. "Just like Wanda Hemphill," Ceely adds spitefully. "So why'd you invite her to your party then?" "Because my mother made me. Just like she made me invite you." Her voice is as twisted as her face. "That's mean, Ceely. That's really mean." Ruth is stunned. "You're the one that's mean. That's why you don't have any friends." No one's ever said that to her before. Maybe it's true. "I have friends," she says weakly. Can't think of any right now, though. She finds most girl stuff stupid. "Then how come I'm the only one that plays with you? And now I'm going to get in so much trouble." "Okay, then I'm going," Ruth says as she takes off. "That way you won't get in trouble for being with me." "No!" Ceely yells, chasing after her. "Don't be mad. Please don't be mad. Please, Ruth." Ruth runs straight up the hill. Blackberry thorns gash her arms and legs. Her hands are scratched. She doesn't feel it. The hurt is all inside. She still hears her yelling. "Wait! I don't know the way back! I'm gonna get lost! Ruth!" She doesn't know that those are the last words she'll ever hear Ceely say. Ruth races along the trail out to the road. She sucks the cuts on her hands and arms while she waits. That car is parked farther ahead, but it's empty. The priest is gone. All Ceely has to do is follow the blue metal triangles nailed to the trees and she'll end up out here, Ruth assures herself. Finally, when Ceely doesn't come, Ruth hurries back into the woods in a guilty panic. A couple times she thinks she hears crying. She tries to run toward it. "Ceely! Ceely, I'm coming! Ceely!" She keeps calling her name. And then she stops. A sudden stillness, and all around her feathery ferns in the thinner light. Whatever that sound was has stopped. No crying or birds singing or cicadas or squirrel chatter. Only panting now, and the frantic thrash of running feet. Her own. She couldn't tell anyone she deliberately ran away from Ceely, or how mad she was, or about the poison ivy. Just that they got separated. Such an admission would have made her part of the crime, the violence, the vicious cruelty inflicted upon the beautiful child, her small corpse, a wet shadow eddying in the starlit downstream shallows, snagged along with plastic grocery bags and a treadless tire and outreaching branches, the mournful arms of a fallen tree. Father Philip Woodman. After her husband, Marilyn Pardoe's next call is to their parish priest and dear friend. When Father Phil arrives, Chris Pardoe is on his phone with the police, free hand pressed to his other ear. Marilyn is frantic. While Maddie was waiting for her little sister to come out from her piano lesson, Marilyn tells Father Phil, Miss Verletti, the teacher, drove off in her car. And Ceely's not home yet. He keeps trying to calm Marilyn down, but she's hysterical. She can't stop talking. Miss Verletti's still not home, she says, so Chris, Ceely's dad, drove up and down every street near the piano teacher's house. Marilyn has called all Ceely's little girlfriends, hoping she might have wandered into someone's backyard. Now she thinks Ceely's fallen asleep somewhere. Lately she's just been really tired, she says, not pausing for breath. Yesterday I said, let's take lunch out on the patio, a picnic, you, me, and Maddie, but all Ceely wanted was to stay in the house. She fell asleep on the window seat, all curled up, like a little kitten in the sun, and this morning I thought she's way too pale. Something's off, her iron levels or something. Oh, my God, I can't believe this is happening. It doesn't make sense. 6 hours, Father. I'm going out of my mind. I know I am. Help me. Somebody please help me. Dear God, please. Marilyn, listen to me. The priest finally gets her attention. I saw Ceely. I saw her just this afternoon. She was with another girl, taller than her, different looking. Who? Marilyn asks, fingertips at her teary, quivering, hopeful smile. I'm not sure. I didn't recognize her anyway. But they were on Marsh Road, which seemed a little far from home, I thought, so I offered them a ride, but Ceely said no. So I went on by, but then I thought, wait a minute, where the heck's she going? I don't know. Something didn't seem right, so I doubled back to ask her again. In fact, I was just going to say, get in the car, young lady. I don't think your mama wants you all the way out here alone. But before I could, she and the other girl took off into the woods. Did she see you? Marilyn asks, blowing her nose into such a frayed tissue that linty specks explode in the air. I'm not sure, but she acted, well, different, like something was up. Furtive. That's all I could think. I even pulled over and got out. But they were gone. I called her name, but it never occurred to me to chase after them. I should have, though, darn it, shouldn't I? Oh my God, tell me this isn't happening. Please.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?